You really should thank me, my sister Amanda smirked, her manicured nails tapping against the marble conference table. I turned your pathetic savings into something worth having. The words hung in the air of the sleek downtown office, sharp as broken glass. Around us, her employees shuffled uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. I sat there, quiet, watching her bask in what she thought was her moment of triumph. The same superior smile she'd worn since we were kids, the one that said she was always going to win. The same look she gave me 3 years ago when I handed her my life savings of $380,000, trusting her to help me invest it. Sign here, she said as she slid the paper across the table, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. It's better this way. You're not cut out for business. Take the $50,000 and go back to your simple life. I looked at the document, a mutual separation agreement that would effectively write me out of the $7 million empire she'd built using my initial investment. An empire she convinced me I was too stupid to be part of. 3 years of manipulation, of being told I was lucky she even bothered to help me. You know, I said, my voice calm as I reached into my briefcase, you're right about one thing. I should thank you. Her smile widened. Of course, she thought I was giving in. I'd always given in before. But not for what you think. I pulled out a thick folder and placed it on the table. I should thank you for being so predictable. Her smile faltered, just slightly. What's that supposed to mean? I opened the folder slowly, deliberately. You were so busy playing the brilliant businesswoman you never bothered to read the fine print. Never checked whose name was actually on the documents. The color drained from her face as I spread out paper after paper, property deeds, business licenses, bank statements, all in my name. What is this? Her voice cracked. Everything, I said simply. Every property, every account, every asset. All legally mine. You see, while you were busy taking credit for everything, I was quietly documenting every dollar you took from me, every decision you made without consulting me, every time you used my money for your empire. The room went deadly silent. Her employees, the ones she gathered to witness my humiliation, started shifting nervously toward the door. You can't do this, she whispered, but her hands were shaking. I built this. I did everything. With my money. I reminded her. Money you never had permission to use the way you did. Money you technically embezzled. Her face twisted with rage. I made you rich. Without me, you'd still be nothing. I laughed, actually laughed. No, Amanda. You made yourself rich with my money, then tried to throw me away. The only difference is I was smart enough to protect myself. The truth was, I'd known from the start. Known she'd try to push me out eventually. It was who she'd always been. The sister who took what she wanted and discarded what she didn't need. So I'd planned accordingly. Every investment she made, every property she bought, every account she opened, I had quietly ensured everything was legally in my name. She'd been so convinced of her own superiority, she never bothered to verify the paperwork she was signing. I'll fight this, she threatened, but her voice was weak. I'll take you to court. With what evidence? I asked calmly. That you took my money without proper documentation. That you made business decisions without my consent? That you tried to force me out of my own company? I shook my head. Go ahead. Explain to a judge how you accidentally built an empire with stolen money. She stood up so quickly her chair crashed backward. You planned this. All of it. You let me think I was in control. Just like you let me think I was worthless. I met her gaze steadily. The difference is I have proof of everything. One of her employees, her assistant, Jessica, cleared her throat. Miss Carter, should I cancel your 2 o'clock? Amanda whirled on her. Get out. All of you get out. They practically ran for the door, leaving us alone in the vast conference room. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawled beneath us. An empire she thought she'd built. Why? She demanded, her voice breaking. Why let it go on for 3 years? Why not stop me sooner? I stood slowly, gathering my papers. Because I needed to know exactly who you were. Not who you pretended to be as my sister, but who you really were. And you showed me every single day. The memories flooded back, every condescending comment, every time she took credit for my ideas, every moment she made me feel small. 3 years of calculated humiliation, all while she built her dream using my money. I gave you everything, she screamed. I made all the decisions. I did all the work. And I let you? I nodded. Because every decision you made, every deal you signed, every property you bought, it was all technically illegal. You had no authority to use my money that way. So yes, you did all the work of building my company. She lunged forward, grabbing my arm. You can't just take everything. I'm your sister. I looked down at her hand, then back at her face. Funny, that's exactly what I said 3 years ago when you took my savings. Remember what you told me? Business is business. She released me like my skin burned. Please, her voice dropped to a whisper. Please don't do this. I'll make it right. We can be partners. Partners? I laughed again. Like we were supposed to be 3 years ago. Before you decided I was too stupid to have a say in my own investment. I was wrong, she pleaded. I see that now. Just tell me what you want. I picked up my briefcase, tucking the folder inside. I want you to feel exactly what you made me feel. Powerless. Worthless. Afraid. I straightened my jacket. You have until the end of the day to clear out your office. You're firing me, she gasped. You can't fire me. I'm the face of this company. Everyone knows me. They'll learn a new face, I shrugged. Just like I had to learn to live with being called your silent partner for 3 years. I walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and Amanda? Don't bother trying to access any of the accounts. I've already frozen everything. Wait, she called out, desperation cracking her voice. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? I turned back one last time. You're smart, remember? Figure it out. That's what you always told me to do. The door clicked shut behind me, cutting off her response. In the outer office, her employees watched me with a mixture of fear and awe. They'd seen the whole thing through the glass walls, even if they couldn't hear the words. Everyone, I announced, my voice clear and professional, there will be a company-wide meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Attendance is mandatory. Until then, continue with your regular duties. I walked through the office she'd designed, past the expensive art she'd bought with my money, beyond the glass doors with her name etched in gold. In the elevator, I finally let out a breath I'd been holding for 3 years. My phone buzzed. A text from Amanda. You'll regret this. Family is forever. I smiled, remembering all the times she used that line to manipulate me. No, I typed back. Business is business. Remember? Then I blocked her number and stepped out into the sunshine. The empire she'd built thinking she was untouchable was now officially mine. Every property, every account, every asset, all legally obtained through her own arrogance. The funny thing was, I'd given her every chance to be different, every opportunity to treat me like a real partner, like a sister. But she'd chosen power over family, control over loyalty, and in doing so, she taught me the most valuable lesson of all. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting someone think they're winning. As I walked to my car, I could see her standing at the conference room window watching me. Even from 30 floors up, I could feel her rage, her disbelief. She'd never imagined I could outsmart her. Never believed I was capable of taking control. That was her biggest mistake, because while she was busy playing CEO, I was quietly becoming the owner she never thought I could be. And now, standing in the parking lot of what was legally my building, I finally felt something I hadn't felt in years. Free. My phone buzzed again. This time an email from my lawyer confirming that all the necessary paperwork had been filed. Amanda's legal right to act on behalf of the company had been officially terminated. It was really over. I got into my car, catching one last glimpse of her in the window above. She was still watching, probably trying to figure out how she'd lost everything in a single morning. But she hadn't lost everything. She'd just finally gotten exactly what she deserved. I started the engine and pulled away from the building, leaving behind the sister who thought she could steal my dreams and the empire she'd built on stolen trust. Tomorrow would bring me challenges, restructuring the company, dealing with the fallout, building something honest from the ruins of her deception. But for now, I just drove, letting the weight of 3 years of calculated patience fall away. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone. Sometimes it's about letting them destroy themselves while you quietly build something stronger from their mistakes. And Amanda? She built me one hell of a foundation. The aftermath was both exactly what I expected and nothing like I'd imagined. By 8:45 a.m. the next morning, the office buzzed with nervous energy. Employees huddled in small groups, whispering behind computer screens, stealing glances at Amanda's now empty office. I stood in what was now my office, removing her personal items from the desk. Each piece told its own story of excess. A $5,000 fountain pen bought with company funds, crystal paperweights, photos of her at charity galas she'd attended using my investment money, all props in her theater of success. Jessica, her former assistant, knocked tentatively on the door. "Ms. Winters?" Everyone's gathered in the conference room. I nodded, straightening my jacket. "Thank you, Jessica. And please call me Sarah." Walking into the conference room felt like stepping into another dimension. Just yesterday, these same people had watched Amanda try to force me out. Now they waited, uncertain, as I took my place at the head of the table. "Good morning," I began, my voice steady. "I know you all have questions. Let me start by introducing myself properly. I'm Sarah Winters, and I am the legal owner of this company." The room erupted in whispers. I let them talk for a moment before continuing. "I understand this is unexpected. However, nothing about your jobs is changing. Your positions are secure, and your salaries will remain the same. The only change is in leadership." A brave soul in the back raised his hand. "What about Ms. Carter?" "My sister is no longer associated with this company in any capacity," I said firmly. "Any attempts by her to contact you regarding business matters should be reported immediately." Just then, as if on cue, the elevator chimed. Through the glass walls, we all watched as Amanda stormed in, designer heels clicking against the marble floors, security scrambling behind her. "I'm so sorry," the head of security called out. She still had her access card. I held up a hand. "It's fine. Let her in." Amanda burst into the conference room, her face twisted with rage. "You think you can just take over? These people know who really built this company." I didn't move from my spot at the head of the table. "Are you finished? You're nothing without me," she spat. Tell them how you hid in the background while I made all the decisions." I smiled, calm in the face of her storm. "You mean like how you decided to use company funds to lease your Mercedes? Or how you renovated your personal condo using investor money?" She froze. The employees shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "Or perhaps," I continued, pulling out a folder, "you'd like to explain these unauthorized transfers from company accounts to your personal offshore account." "You're lying," she hissed, but her face had gone pale. "Am I?" I turned to Jessica. "Jessica, could you please pull up the company expense reports for the last quarter?" Jessica nodded, tapping quickly on her tablet. The large screen behind me lit up with financial data. "Now," I addressed the room, "you'll notice several irregular expenses, 5-star hotels, designer shopping sprees, personal spa treatments, all classified as business expenses." Amanda lunged for me, but security was faster. They caught her arms as she screamed, "You planned this. You trapped me." "No," I said quietly. "You trapped yourself. I just kept better records." I nodded to security. "Please escort my sister out. And this time, make sure her access card is deactivated." As they dragged her toward the door, she turned back one last time. "This isn't over." Actually, I held up my phone, showing her the video recording of her outburst. "I think it is. Would you like me to add attempted assault to the legal documentation?" The fight seemed to drain out of her all at once. Her shoulders slumped as security led her away, leaving behind only the echo of her heels and the heavy silence of shock. I turned back to the room full of stunned employees. "Now, shall we discuss the company's new direction?" The meeting lasted another hour. I outlined changes, answered questions, and assured worried employees. By the end, the tension had shifted to cautious optimism. As people filed out, Jessica lingered behind. "Ms. Wynn, Sarah," she corrected herself. "There's something you should know." She pulled out a USB drive. I kept copies of everything: the unauthorized transactions, the personal expenses, the altered reports. I knew something wasn't right, but I took the drive, understanding what she couldn't say. "You were protecting yourself." She nodded. "I never agreed with how she treated you, how she talked about you when you weren't here." "Thank you, Jessica," I said sincerely. "Your position here is safe. In fact, I'd like to promote you to operations manager." Her eyes widened. "Really? Really, I need people I can trust, people who understand the difference between loyalty and blind obedience." After she left, I stood at the window where just yesterday Amanda had watched me drive away. The city stretched out below, a landscape of possibilities she tried to deny me. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you're so clever. Wait until Mom and Dad hear about this. I smiled, screenshotting the message for my lawyers. Same old Amanda, always thinking she held all the cards. What she didn't know was that I'd already spoken to our parents, shown them the evidence, explained how their precious daughter had nearly committed financial fraud with my money. They hadn't believed me at first, of course. Amanda had always been their golden child. But numbers don't lie, and bank records don't play favorites. I typed back one message. They already know. Check your phone. Then I blocked the number and turned back to my desk. There was work to be done. A company to rebuild, trust to restore. Amanda had built an empire on lies. Now it was my turn to build something real. The fallout came in waves. First, there were the angry calls from Amanda's society friends, the ones she cultivated using my money. Then came the passive-aggressive social media posts, painting herself as the victim of a ruthless sibling betrayal. But the real storm hit when she showed up at our parents' house. I was there when she arrived, sitting calmly at the kitchen table with Mom and Dad, showing them the last of the financial records. The front door slammed open so hard the windows rattled. "Are you happy now?" Amanda screamed, mascara streaking down her face. "You've turned everyone against me." Mom flinched, but Dad just looked tired. The past week had aged him, the truth about his golden daughter carving new lines around his eyes. "The only person who turned anyone against you is yourself," I said quietly, not looking up from the documents. "Oh, perfect timing," she sneered. "Sitting here poisoning them with your lies. Mom, Dad, you can't believe her. She's always been jealous of me." Dad held up a bank statement. "Did Sarah forge your signature on these transfers too? Or the receipts for the vacation house in Aspen that you bought with company money?" Amanda's face went through a series of emotions: shock, anger, fear, and finally, her default: manipulation. "Daddy," her voice softened into the little girl tone she'd always used to get her way. "I was going to pay it all back. I was just trying to build something great for our family. By stealing from your sister," Mom's voice cracked. "By treating her like she was nothing. I made her rich," Amanda protested. "Look at everything I built." "With my money," I reminded her. "Money you never had permission to spend the way you did." She whirled on me. "You gave it to me. You signed the papers." "Investment papers," I corrected. "Not a blank check for your personal expenses. Would you like me to show Mom and Dad the original agreement you violated?" "I don't understand," Mom whispered. "Why, Amanda? You had everything, your own successful business, your sister's trust, our support. Why wasn't that enough?" Amanda's facade cracked. "Because it was never supposed to be her," she screamed. "I was the smart one. I was the successful one. She was nothing but a boring accountant, and suddenly she had all this money to invest. It wasn't fair." The room went silent. Finally, the truth, raw and ugly and real. "So you decided to punish me?" I asked softly. "To prove you were better by stealing from me?" "I didn't steal. I built an empire." "An empire built on lies," Dad said, his voice heavy with disappointment. "And now you've lost everything." Amanda laughed, high and brittle. "Lost? You think this is over? I still have copies of everything. I'll take her to court. I'll tell everyone how she manipulated me, how she set me up." I pulled out my phone and pressed play. Her voice filled the kitchen. "I made all the decisions. I did all the work." Her own confession from the conference room, crystal clear. The blood drained from her face. "You recorded me?" "I recorded everything I said. Every meeting, every threat, every admission. Just like you taught me, always keep evidence, right?" She staggered back, groping for the wall. You planned this. All of it. You're not the victim here. You trapped me." "No, Amanda. I protected myself." "There's a difference." Mom started crying softly. Dad just stared at the table, decades of prideful memories crumbling before his eyes. "Get out," he said finally, not looking at Amanda. "Daddy, please. Get out." His voice thundered through the kitchen. "Until you understand what you've done, until you can tell the truth, just get out." She turned to Mom, desperate. "Mom?" But Mom just shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Amanda's face hardened. "Fine. Side with her. But don't come crying to me when she turns on you too. That's what she does, you know. Pretends to be innocent while plotting behind everyone's back." "No," I stood up finally. That's what you do. And you're so convinced everyone thinks like you. You never imagined someone could actually be honest. She grabbed her designer purse, probably bought with stolen money, and stormed toward the door. But she couldn't resist one last shot. You'll regret this, she hissed. All of you. I'll make sure everyone knows what really happened. Go ahead, I called after her. Tell them how you embezzled money, how you violated investment agreements, how you tried to steal a company. I'm sure that'll work out great for your reputation. The door slammed so hard a family photo fell from the wall. The frame cracked, splitting the glass right between Amanda and me. Mom broke down completely then. Dad tried to comfort her, but his hands were shaking. I'm sorry, I said quietly. I never wanted you to see her like this. Dad looked up, his eyes wet. No, we're sorry. We should have seen it sooner. Should have questioned why she always needed more, why she never thought anything was enough. We were so proud, Mom whispered. So proud of everything she said she built. We never thought. It's not your fault, I assured them. She fooled everyone. That's what she does. Dad reached across the table and took my hand. Not everyone. You saw through her. You protected yourself. We just wish you hadn't had to. I squeezed his hand, feeling the weight of years of competition, of always being second best, finally lifting. I learned from her, I said simply. Every time she underestimated me, every time she thought I was too stupid to understand, I was watching, learning, planning. Mom wiped her eyes. What happens now? I stood up, gathering the documents. Now, I run the company properly, build something real, something honest. And Amanda. I shrugged. Amanda faces the consequences of her choices. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. A text from my lawyer. Amanda was trying to access company accounts, making threats to employees. Exactly as we predicted. I have to go, I said. There's still work to do. Dad stood up and hugged me properly for what felt like the first time in years. We're proud of you two, you know. We should have said it more. I hugged him back, breathing in the familiar smell of his aftershave. I know, better late than never, right? As I drove back to the office, I thought about Amanda, probably plotting her next move, never understanding that her real punishment wasn't losing the money or the company. It was losing the one thing she'd always taken for granted, family. 6 months later, I sat in my office, reviewing the quarterly reports. The company had not just survived Amanda's departure, it had thrived. Without her excessive spending and mismanagement, our profits had increased by 40%. A knock at my door drew my attention. Jessica entered, holding a magazine. You might want to see this. It was a local business publication. On the cover was Amanda, looking polished but strained, next to the headline. The Fall of an Empire. Amanda Carter speaks out. I flipped to the article, already knowing what I'd find. She had spun a tale of betrayal, of a jealous sister who plotted her downfall. But the journalists had done their homework, including snippets of financial records and court documents. She tried to contact me yesterday, Jessica said quietly, asked me to speak to the press to back up her story. And I told her the truth was already out there. She didn't like that. I smiled, proud of how far Jessica had come from being Amanda's intimidated assistant. Thank you. After Jessica left, I opened my desk drawer and pulled out an envelope that had arrived that morning. Inside was a handwritten letter from Amanda. Dear Sarah, I know you probably won't read this, but I need to try. I've lost everything, my reputation, my friends, my future. No one will hire me. No one trusts me. Even Mom and Dad still won't speak to me. I know now what I did was wrong. I let greed and jealousy poison me. I convinced myself I deserved more, that I was better than you. I wasn't. I was just better at pretending. Please, give me another chance. Let me prove I can change. I'll do anything. Your sister, Amanda. I read it twice, noting the tear stains on the paper. 6 months ago, this might have moved me. But I'd learned my lesson about Amanda's manipulations. I picked up my phone and typed out a response. Amanda, you're right about one thing. You've lost everything. But you didn't lose it because of me. You lost it because of your choices. You want another chance? Start by admitting the truth, not just to me, but to yourself. Stop playing the victim. Stop blaming others for your actions. When you can do that, really do that, then maybe we can talk about family again. Until then, stay away from my company and my life. Sarah. I sent the message, then turned back to my work. Through the window, I could see the city skyline, the same view Amanda used to love. But where she had seen an empire to conquer, I saw a legacy to build. My phone buzzed, a message from Dad. Dinner tonight? Mom's making your favorite. I smiled, remembering our last family dinner. No tension, no competition, just quiet conversation and healing. I'll be there, I replied. As I gathered my things to leave, I passed the wall where Amanda's portrait used to hang. In its place was a simple framed quote, "Success built on truth stands forever." The security guard nodded as I walked out. "Good night, Ms. Winters." "Good night, Tom." In the parking lot, I passed Amanda's old parking space, now filled by Jessica's modest sedan. The designer boutiques where Amanda used to shop had been replaced by investment accounts for employee benefits. My phone buzzed one last time. "Amanda again. I understand. I'm sorry, really sorry." For the first time, her words seemed genuine. Maybe losing everything had finally taught her something. Maybe someday she'd learn that success isn't about winning at all costs. But that was her journey now, not mine. I drove home under a sky turning purple with sunset, feeling nothing but peace. The empire Amanda built had crumbled, but from its ashes, I built something stronger. A future founded on truth, not lies. A success earned, not stolen. A family healed, not divided. And that was worth more than all the money she ever tried to take from me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply living well, standing in your truth, and letting karma do the rest. Amanda had taught me that, though not in the way she'd intended. And for that, maybe I really should thank her.